Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back to your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, let's just dive on in and let's start off with this tweet here from Ripple themselves. We are honored to announce that Ripple has been recognized by Juniper Research in their prestigious Future Digital Awards for FinTech and Payments 2023, Sustainability and FinTech Innovation of the Year, Platinum Award for CBDC Innovation as well. Listen, Ripple has been on an absolute massive winning streak recently. I mean, this entire year has been a massive year for Ripple, for digital assets. I mean, hell, for this entire space as well. Whether or not you have been focused on it or not, it's okay. We have been. And we have seen huge announcements this entire year. And it's kind of interesting because guess what? While retail focus and interest is at all-time lows, I mean, like, crypto is essentially dead if you're focusing on interest. We have seen all of these big announcements. I mean, we have seen the major organizations of the world and the largest corporations tapping in to blockchain and crypto. It's truly incredible to see because it really makes you extremely bullish for the next major cycle. And also beyond this, we also know that Ripple has been moving extremely fast. Recently, we started to see them working with the National Bank of Georgia on their CBDC pilot project. Again, a lot of people have questionable remarks around CBDCs. We already know that Chase UK, for example, started to block, their banking clients' payments to crypto. We know that this has become a big deal. A lot of these, what most people don't realize, right? And I would argue it's a very, very large percentage of people. What people don't realize around the idea of, and I'm putting it in quotation marks, is control around CBDCs. They already can control you. They can control what you buy. They can control what you do with your bank account. I mean, hell, if you go to a bank tomorrow and say for so you wanted to get $40,000 out, say for so you're going to buy a $40,000 car all in cash, don't even need to know the specifics around it. That's the overall goal, right? You go into that bank and you say, hey, I need to withdraw $40,000. Do you know the looks and the questions that you will get regarding your money? Do you know how hard of a scenario that would be to actually achieve? It's probably going to take well over 48 hours for them to, one, actually get the funds together for you. And they're going to, I'm telling you, they're going to hold you hostage just for you to get your to get your withdrawal, which is insane. But if you want to deposit $40,000, oh, they would be jumping for joy. They will instantly take that money. This is the problem. This is the biggest problem with banks, is that a lot of people are actually, it's a big misconception. The money in your bank account is actually not there, one. It's not actually your money. And what's crazy about it is that it's all fake. It's all fake. It's all made up. And society today is already controlled by money. With a CBDC, yes, the big concern is just privacy, right? But privacy, do we really even have privacy with a bank account? Because if tomorrow, right, they needed to subpoena your bank, they could immediately get the entire list of your banking transactions. They could do that. So when we talk about privacy, there really isn't much around finances and around making payments unless you are utilizing that old fiat dollar. Meaning if you're making payments in actual money, it could still be tracked technically, but it's a lot more secure than using digital currencies and using PayPal or using your bank account. Because again, a lot of this stuff can be tracked. But this is a world that, in my opinion, is inevitable, and it will actually solve a lot of problems, in my opinion. There is a lot of concerns with it, but I think that a lot of the concerns that we see with CBDCs, well, they're really not that much different than what we already have. But again, everyone has their own opinion on that subject. I will let you guys be the ones to really kind of give me your opinions. But beyond that, we've started to kind of see Ripple being heavily focused on and working with some very large groups in the past. I actually put out this tweet just recently back in September. I said Ripple is working with the BIS, the ISDA, the spotlighted by the IMF, the World Bank. They've been meeting with central banks for years. while they build these strong connections, they're also exposing XRP to all these huge organizations and central banks. Focus on the bigger picture. And listen, that's the one thing that I find very exciting about XRP is the exposure. I mean, hell, the retail sector is going to be exposed to XRP on many fronts. I mean, if you're tapping into a few things and tokenization initiatives, 9 times out of 10, you are probably tapping into blockchain technology, and it could be, XRP, it could be Hedera, it could be anything. When we look at XRP, the XRP ledger has over 100 plus use cases. And with the EVM compatibility sidechain, we're talking about thousands of possible use cases. That's huge. Now, that's a great blossom effect around retail adoption, but then you look at all of the institutional great adoption that could happen through Ripple as well. I mean, the exposure of XRP could very well be much larger than what anyone can anticipate, which is very, very exciting. It's interesting as well to think about where XRP could be in 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. I think that as we look at adoption, it's only going to accelerate more and more in much shorter amounts of time. I think too many people look at, adoption in the space and they kind of compare it to Web 2. And I think that that is a very illogical thing to do because, beyond the scope of Web 2, Web 2 moved slow. It moved a lot faster than Web 1, but it still moved pretty slow towards adoption. And most of the adoption, what we've seen of the internet, was through social media platforms. I mean, MySpace and Facebook were 2 of the biggest ones. And then, of course, yes, we've seen Twitter kind of take over at the end of it. Now, when we look at Web3 and the adoption of Web3 technologies, I really do think that a lot of it is going to be payment apps. And I also think that's going to be decentralized social media marketplaces and platforms like that, which is very exciting. But also beyond this, like I've said, Ripple has been on a massive winning streak. And just recently, we actually just seen this. It's official. Ripple is now fully licensed to provide digital payment token services in Singapore by the Monetary Authority of Singapore. Ripple is committed to delivering real-world crypto solutions for businesses in APAC. And remember what I just recently said about businesses and enterprises. The adoption of this is only going to grow astronomically. Over 44% of global financial leaders within the business sector are already looking into crypto to tap into the efficiencies locked away behind this industry. And over here, not to get confused with this, is the announcement from June of this year where Ripple got the in-principle nod for digital asset services in Singapore. And again, this was going to help scale its on-demand liquidity service that is used through XRP. Now, what makes this different? Brad Garlinghouse even said, incredibly proud of the team at Ripple. Just 4 months after we received our in-principle approval from the Monetary Authority of Singapore, we've now secured the full major payment institution license for digital payment token services in Singapore. Now, I'm going to talk to you guys about why this is such a big deal here in a second, but I first want to go over this article. It's not too long. It's pretty short, right? It's not too crazy. But we do see earlier this year, Ripple received an in-principle approval of its MPI license application from, of course, the MAS. 4 months on, Ripple is thrilled to announce that its Singapore subsidiary, Ripple Markets APAC, has secured its full MPI license to provide digital payment token services in Singapore. This license underscores the real-world utility of crypto solutions for businesses and financial institutions alike, marking an important step towards wider adoption of digital assets. Singapore is known as a leader in pioneering digital asset regulation, making it an ideal location for businesses and financial institutions to harness the power of crypto for cross-border payments, crypto liquidity, and central bank digital currencies. Since establishing Singapore as our Asia Pacific headquarters in 2017, the country has been pivotal to Ripple's global business. We have hired exceptional talent and local leadership, doubling headcount over the past year, and plan to continue growing our presence in a progressive jurisdiction like Singapore. Under the Monetary Authority of Singapore's leadership, Singapore has developed into one of the leading fintech and digital asset hubs, striking the balance between innovation, consumer protection, and of course, responsible growth. So again, this is great. And, as we really kind of look at Singapore, they have become a massive hub. And by the way, global finance leaders agree that digital assets are here to stay. 90% believe blockchain and digital assets will have a significant or massive impact on business, finance, and society in the next 3 years. And almost half of Asia Pacific finance leaders plan to use crypto for cross-border payments. In general, payments across Asia Pacific will continue to trend increasingly digital. Cashless transaction volume is set to increase over 109% by 2025. And Ripple will continue to prioritize this region for adoption of its global payments solutions. Again, you could see why Singapore has become a focus. Now, why is this such a big deal? Well, June 30th, we've seen Ripple executive spells out Asia future after license success in Singapore. Now, initially they talk about on-demand liquidity here, nothing too crazy, but then down here we get the Q&A. So we do see MAS has given in principle approval for MPI license. So what does that mean for Ripple's operations? Well, the approval ensures regulatory certainty for our existing business in Singapore. This allows us to offer regulated digital payment token products and services, which will enable us to better support and scale the use of on-demand liquidity by our customers in Singapore and across the APAC region that look to explore blockchain and digital asset technologies for their cross-border payment and treasury use cases. So again, this was big. Now, we see down here, we believe that with on-demand liquidity volume surging in Asia Pacific, we know that there's a great appetite from customers in the region to engage and explore blockchain and digital assets. Obtaining this MAS approval will drive further adoption of our digital asset-enabled products and services within the region, and this will allow us to better support these progressive customers and scale our services to ultimately build a more inclusive and borderless financial system. Down here, we do see, when do you expect the full license from the MAS, which is, by the way, this is the full license. In principle approval from the MAS comes with certain conditions we have to meet to be eligible for a license. So we're working around the clock to meet the conditions. There's no set timeline. If you look at the history of licenses that have been issued, it could range anywhere from 6 to 9 months. They already got it. How exactly will Ripple up its capacity in the city? What are your hiring and investment plans? Well, the key focus is developing talent. Now, they do mention the overall significance of hiring outside of the US, 90%. They also mention the education around real world solutions and digital payments. But as we really kind of look at Singapore, the reason behind why this is so significant, right, the full license, is because now that they are fully licensed, it means that now they could fully focus on all of the endeavors that they wanted to around digital assets, specifically even XRP within the Singapore region. I expect us to start to see some pretty big updates from this. And we already know Singapore has gone all in on crypto. Listen, Singapore is all in on crypto. From, this announcement around Ripple to Coinbase on October 1st, obtaining their major payment institution license. Also, crypto liquidity provider GSR received a regulatory approval in Singapore from October 2nd. Swiss crypto bank Signum's Singapore arm gets full license to offer brokerage services here. And also Singapore picks up speed in digital asset blockchain race as firms look to expand. What have I said? What have I said time and time again? A global financial race is on to adopt and ultimately tap in to blockchain-based services. Believe it or not, just like the great space race, we are now seeing the great blockchain race, where they are tapping into next generation technology. And again, we're really kind of starting to see this become a reality. I mean, listen, outside of Singapore, right? We know that there's incredible opportunities of major nations wanting to become crypto hubs. The UK, the UAE, Hong Kong, Singapore, there's so many damn areas. They all want in. Even India said that they see crypto becoming a big piece of their system. So as we really kind of look at adoption, it is only going to accelerate more and more. The race is on. Whether or not you want to believe that or not, it's okay. You don't have to. But if you look at all of these announcements, they are all in the same time frame, and it's all around tapping in and approving these major digital payment and blockchain-based services around Singapore. They are extremely excited to adopt this type of technology because they also see that the race is on. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because I'm free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Peace out.